So good evening, everybody. Sunshower Rose here, Sedona, Arizona, coming to you live for a little network marketing soiree. And so I think Jessica mentioned to you that I've been doing the network marketing thing for about 23 years. It doesn't mean I'm a queen or that I know everything. It just means I've heard a lot and I can repeat it sometimes. And by the way, leaders steal from each other. It's a real common practice, and they pride themselves in saying, yeah, I stole this from, like Eric Worre or from Jim Rohn or Zig Ziglar. So it's a good thing, to take what's already been proven to be really good terms and phrases and use them for yourself in your own business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share screen, and hopefully this will work really good because this is on, I have two monitors, so I'm seeing myself here, but let's see what happens when I
Recording in progress.
when I share screen. So where is, oh, there it is. So I want to share screen, this one. Can everybody see that? I need to hear a yes or a no. Somebody's going to have to, unmute.
Yes, we can hear you wonderfully and see it.
You can see it as well?
Yes, we can see it and hear you well.
Oh, very good. Thank you so much. So we'll call this Network Marketing 101. And apparently, I guess I'm going to be doing a series. I didn't even know I was, but this is really good practice for me. I love speaking with folks and getting to know them and, sharing what I've learned and stuff. So this is really fun. Today, this is my third hat that I've worn today. I was teaching plein air watercolor on the Red Rocks in Sedona earlier today. And then I did a Finmore presentation at a hotel in Cottonwood. And now I'm here. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. I will take some questions towards the end. I'd like to keep this to like a half hour. So let's call this one Network Marketing 101. So I kind of already asked you, are you brand new? And apparently we have one person that's a guest, and that would be the furry ball, right? So you're not really brand new. Are you just taking a peek? Have you been around a few months? Well, if you've been with Transact Card, probably so. Or have you been around network marketing a few years? And I didn't ask that, but maybe I'll ask you later who's been actually doing network marketing for a few years. So, it's like, let's move on to the next slide. I'm going to see what happens if I move to the next slide. So this kind of business is not for the faint of heart. It's what I would say is simple, but it's not easy. And it can become easy, but much of the time you feel like you're working all by yourself. And that would be when you're making your phone calls and stuff. There's nobody in the room with you. You're making your calls. You're not sure who to call next. And somebody told you no, and you start feeling rejected and all that stuff. The rejection word, just toss it out the window. Anytime somebody says no, it doesn't mean no forever. It might mean no, not right now, but I never take no personally. It just has nothing to do with me. You remember what Wayne Dyer said, right? Your opinion of me has nothing to do with me. It's not my business. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. I just prepared these just a few minutes before we got together, so I've prepared only 7 slides. So what shall we call this kind of business? Oh, maybe we should spell business right. How about I work on that? So it's been called many things. Network marketing is pretty common. Direct sales, attraction marketing is a little more current, and relationship marketing is even more current. So I kind of like the term relationship marketing. So be prepared. Well, what does that mean? It means know yourself, be flexible, and be coachable. It comes down to 4 core beliefs. You must have belief in your product, the company you're working with, network marketing in general, yourself, and others. So when it comes down to it, the word SELLING is not part of my vernacular. It kind of turns my stomach if I hear it, because that's not what we're doing. What we do is we share. So part of this is to be prepared about who you are, right? And then the next part would be to share and care about people. And of course, there's an important facet to this, and that is to enroll people. So let us say attraction marketing or relationship marketing, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Oftentimes, this business is referred to as a self-development program with a compensation plan. So that's something that I'd like to get to before I quit here. So part of this is to, I didn't even finish all this. I told you I just did this just before getting it together with you. So part of this is to pique interest. So forget about lorem ipsum. Go to pique interest, share a video, follow up. It's extremely important about the follow-up. It's not enough to just say, hi, you want to watch this video? And then you never call back to see what they thought of the video. And there's even a certain kind of wording that you want to say when you do follow up. And then hopefully you're going to enroll. And the DMO stands for Daily Method of Operation. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. As I just mentioned, this kind of business is about self-development, self-improvement. And if you do not have an interest in that, do not start. Mostly what we're doing is developing leaders. When we are born, we're not born leaders, and we sure don't know about network marketing or attraction marketing or any of these terms. It's all learned. I remember when I started in 2001, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I really didn't. And I didn't know the word cellular level and all of it. It was very foreign to me. And so my sponsor actually talked with somebody that I knew that I had introduced to what we were working with. And then I went off to work and he called that person and talked with them about it. And I didn't even know he did that. So I thought he was stealing my person. That's what I thought. It seemed like it to me. What? You talked to my buddy and you didn't tell me you were going to do that? What did you guys talk about? Oh, I just told her about the business and our products and stuff. And she's actually ready to enroll. She is? Yeah. And then it was like this. He did the takeaway. He goes, so I can either enroll this person under me or I can enroll her under you. Well, at that point, I had yet to enroll. So I go, well, choose me. And so he did the takeaway on me and it worked really good. And I've been in network marketing ever since. So I would suggest to you that if you're not willing to do some self-development, so you pick it. Maybe next time I'll have a list of wonderful authors and speakers that you could tune into. Jim Rohn's one of my very favorite. He's not on the planet anymore, but he was so funny, but he was so good. I think one of his books and talks was called Network Marketing 101 and building your network marketing business. And so I'm going to just give you an example of something that he said that I really love. So he goes, it's not about the wind. The wind happens to us all. It's about the set of the sail. So I'm going to ask you to unmute and tell me what you think that means.
We're just still figuring out what set of the sail means.
Okay, so
Well,
pretend
I
you're
can,
on
I'll speak up.
a little sailboat.
Yeah, so what it means to me is regardless of what direction the wind is, you can go in any direction as long as you set the sail properly. You can tack directly into the wind, go downstream, you go any direction, 360, it's up to you. And you don't have to depend upon your environment to pick your direction. You choose your direction.
You choose your direction, and the way you can only do that is if you're prepared and you're a sailor enough to know what in the world to do. Otherwise, the whole thing will capsize, right? So it definitely is about being prepared, and that's what I was saying. In this kind of business, I'll harp on this, is if you do not read 10 minutes of a good book every day, a good book or the good book, or listen to like a YouTube of Jim Rohn, Wayne Dyer, Eric Worre, Ray Higdon. There's so many wonderful authors and speakers, whether they're still on the planet or not, that have left a legacy of quotes and things we can do for ourselves every single day. So the part about being in business for yourself but not by yourself, I'm going to just explain it as if you didn't already know this, maybe you do, is it's our job to find people, right? This is all about networking, and hopefully you're gregarious and you're outgoing and you love people and you love sharing. That would be another reason not to do this if you're not, if you're not into that at all. But say you are, and you've done your reading, say 10 minutes of a good book, and now you're going to make a few calls to people on your list. That's another thing that we normally do, is create a list. I've heard many people say, "Well, but I don't know anybody." And I go, just open up your phone and look at your contacts. That's just not the case. Everybody knows at least 1,000 people, even if you have to reach back to your high school days. So the idea would be, maybe it's about make your phone calls first, There's other times when you're going to meet somebody at the grocery store, or you are with some friends and you're all on a hike. You're just talking with people. That's really part of this, is just being okay with talking with people. And then, of course, the other major part is to listen, and listen carefully. If you're not listening, again, go back to reading your book and pick up something inspirational. So say somebody says, so finally you get around to introducing your product or your business, and you've said a few things, and they're going, gosh, I don't know if I understand all this. Well, then we can get into the sending of the video, and we are not the message, we are the messenger. So we lead people to this step, then this step, then this step. It's always about the next event, the next event, the next event. So say, though, you've made a few calls to some friends and some people aren't even home. You don't even reach them. And then you try another few friends and, you finally get somebody instead of a voicemail. And what you don't want to do is necessarily bring anything up about your company, the products, the business. May not be that at all. What if you haven't talked with them for 3 years? Are you going to instantly bring up Finmore in the first few sentences? The answer to that is absolutely not. If it's a relationship building business, then you want to continue to build your relationship and have a really good rapport with your person long before you bring up the subject of your business or your product. So again, keeping good track of who you've talked to, there's even little charts you can, little Excel sheets, you can have little columns, and you can write who you talked to on what day and what part of the process they're in. And then when you're going to make your follow-up call. So let's say you haven't talked to them for 3 years, but you have about a 10-minute conversation. The thing is, you don't want to go on and on and on for half an hour or an hour, 10 minutes max. And then go ahead and just turn off your camera, please, Kim. So you talk with them for maybe 10 minutes. And then here's the thing, you're always in a hurry. You always have something you have to get to next. So you say, oh my, look at that. It's, we've been talking for several minutes and I just realized I have to go do blah, 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 whatever it is, cook the meal or feed the cat or whatever it is. And so you want to leave your call fairly quickly, but you always want to set up the next event, even if it's another phone call. So again, if you haven't talked with the person for 3 years and you have this nice little 10-minute conversation, you say, well, what's the best time for me to give you a call back? And they go, oh, anytime next week. We'll say it's Thursday. And you go, how about Monday? Oh, no. I have doctor's appointments. I have to go to the post office. I have to go to the grocery store. I have to check in with my mailman, blah, 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 all these things. Oh, okay. Here's you starting to give people choices now. Okay, this is important stuff. So which would be better than maybe Tuesday or Thursday? And they go, Tuesday's good. Yeah, let's talk again Tuesday. Oh, goody. More choices. Which is better for you, morning or afternoon? Oh, never the morning. I'm so busy. Oh, I'll give you all these reasons. Oh, okay. So afternoon. So what would be better for you? A lot like 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock? Oh, no. No, Tuesdays. Let's see. No, maybe around 4. And now you have your appointment. And you better keep it. Keep your word, no matter what. If you can't keep your word, you call them and tell them, I can't keep that appointment. What would be the next best time for you? And always make it about them. It's many times when you're in a conversation with people, not ever about yourself. There's been many times when you meet somebody on an airplane, you talk to them for a whole hour, or actually you listen, you keep asking questions. This is another important key. The person who is asking questions is in control of the conversation. And the other part is to remember what they said and later say, you mentioned da-da-da. Could you tell me more about that? It's an important key because then they know that you have been listening to them. The typical is to be sort of ahead. Let's see, what am I going to say next? And where am I going with this conversation? And it's, you have this chatter going on. Well, try to avoid that. It's not healthy for either of you. Make that person feel like they're so special. They're the only person in the world to you at that moment. Eye contact if you're with them. And you know what else? When I'm on the phone with people, I'm walking around and I have my head high and I'm smiling. You don't think people can sense if you're smiling or if you're just sort of sitting there with like this and twiddling your pen or something? They can't see it, but I'm telling you, they can feel it. Another thing that people can feel is desperation. So you want to avoid that. That's, again, why you want to do your soft skills and continue your self-development. Let's see. It's 7:24. I'd like to open the floor for questions.
Hi, this is Buzz.
Hi, Buzz. Talk a little louder.
Okay. Unfortunately, I contacted a number of people and I haven't followed up with them. And it was right in that time when things were changing to Finmore. And so I've kind of left them hanging. And how do I approach them now?
My high suggestion would be to just call them up and just chat. Last time we talked, you mentioned your doggy had something going on, needed an operation or something. How did that go? And get them to talk about themselves. That's most important, is that you are concerned about them and it's not all about you, as I just said. And so they may just ramble. I'm telling you, people, once they get talking, you may not be able to shut them up unless you go, gosh, I just have to get going. And so they may not even bring up that which you're concerned about, which is, well, what's going on? Is it Transact Card? Is it Finmore? What is it? What is it? That's what's on your mind. They might have it in the back of their mind, but if all you've done is introduce them to, say, Finmore or Transact, in whichever case, that's not at the top of their mind. If you don't know them very well and you talked with them about it before, then they may be going, oh, is she calling about that thing that she brought up, or he brought up before? But unless you bring it up, they may not at all. But if they do, well, there's a number of different answers for that. And you need to feel comfortable with what those kind of answers are. I think we leave that one for another session.
Objection, yeah.
Well, the kinds of things that you can say to people, okay? Would you make a note of that? And I'll remember to bring it up in our next session.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, this is Tanya. Yeah, that would be my question. So when you're setting the next time with them, and then they're gonna go, well, why do you want to call me back?
Why what?
Why do you want to call me back? Why are you setting another, we've talked and talked now. Why do you want to talk again?
Oh, you just want to keep the door open.
What do you tell the person?
About why you're calling?
Yes.
Again,
Why you would have the second appointment?
right. Well, hopefully you did set the second appointment, right? But if you're in the middle of transition, as we are, between Transact Card and Finmore, you may not want to bring that up. Just say, I just wanted to check in with you. And if they bring it up, then you know what? There's another session that we're going to do on three-way calling. Are you familiar with three-way calling?
Yes.
All of you?
Yes,
All 7 of you?
I'm not too familiar with it. I don't know how to do it very well.
Aha. So I actually have a recorded video of myself doing a demonstration about same. It's not for this company, so it might not refer to what we're used to. I could do a more generic one too. But if you'd like, I can give you a link. It's on my YouTube channel. So please write that down too. And it'll give you the mechanics of how, exactly on your phone. Some people don't realize that their phones actually have a little thing that says add call. So there's the mechanics of it. And then there's the way to do a three-way call. And who in the world are you going to do a three-way call with? So that's kind of a whole separate thing. Again, it goes back to you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So, for instance, when I'm wanting to further a conversation with somebody about, say, Finmore, let's call it Finmore now, I may know the answers to a question that's asked of me, but I may say, gosh, that's a great question. I'm going to get my friend Stephanie on the line. She's much more in the know about that kind of thing than myself. So what that does is it takes the burden off of you from having to explain everything. If you find yourself in the place of explaining, you're doing this business exactly incorrect. It's time to pass the baton to someone else who maybe has been around the block longer than yourself, and they know exactly the kinds of things to say to answer the question. So guess what? That helps the person that you're doing the three-way call with understand that you're not the final answer and you don't have to know all this stuff. That gives them permission so that if they choose to join you in business, they don't have to know everything either. There's many levels to three-way calls as to why they're so powerful, and it's one of the most unused, unappreciated facets of our business. There's another thing that Kim Elliott that's my sister, she just joined us. What we've been learning lately is how to do three-way chats through Facebook. It's fascinating. I'm learning so much. This is like this never-ending journey of learning and expanding and becoming more of the leader that you can be. You know, you may not have the belief in yourself at the beginning. It's true of most people, unless they come in here from another company and they've had some self-development and all that for some number of years. Does that make sense to you?
Right.
You know, Sunshine, there is one question I think somebody wanted to ask, and that is, let's say you've made a first phone call with the person and you've chatted for a bit, and you go to make a second phone call, and the person said, you kind of like, why are we making another phone call appointment? You know, we just chatted for a while. I don't understand why you're gonna call me back.
So let's go back to the first phone call instead of the second phone call.
Okay, so they haven't made a second phone call yet. You're
I
just
know.
trying to make an appointment for a second.
Right. So let me get there. So
Okay.
so you're
Okay.
chatting with this person that you haven't talked to for 3 years, and the idea is to sort of cut it short. It's been such fun talking with you, Matilda. I love hearing your voice and your laugh. You're so funny. And oh gosh, but I do have to get going. But I'd love to continue the conversation. So now you've led into your second event with the same person. It's not that you have to do that every time, but it's a good little technique, because now you're back in front of them, whether it's by phone or in person. You know, they're like, oh, it's Sunshower again. Wonder what she's up to. They may never even ask you what you're up to, because you're going to be the one asking the questions, even on the second call. You told me about your dog's operation last time. How did that go? And they go, wow, she was really listening to me. So at first it might just be friendly stuff. That's why this business can take a while. That's why I said at the beginning, it's a simple business, but it may not be considered easy, because you need to keep kind of a track of who you've talked to and when. And if you go into what's called AMOA, all out massive action, you end up with a ton of people in your pipeline, and you better keep good track of who you've talked to when and when the next call is, and kind of you're steering it towards enrolling either as a member or as a business partner. Does that help?
Yes, I have a question. How long, this is Elliot, by the way.
Hi,
How
Elliot.
long do you know when to approach your idea of the business? Because it sounds to me like this is a very big scope. If you're trying to get to know a person, reunite a person you haven't seen in a long time, at what point do you should you feel comfortable in introducing what it is, how you want to steer the business? Is there a certain amount of conversations that you should have?
No, it's
Or
not
is there-
really about the number or anything. It's about the quality of the conversation. And what you're doing is listening, and you may ask a leading question. Something like, so are you still in the, I don't know, car mechanic business or something? And they go, oh no, I got out of that 1.5 years ago. Oh, really? What happened? Again, you're asking the questions. Well, you know, COVID, and I lost a lot of business, a lot of customers, and they moved away, and they had to be at home with their relatives. And some people lost some of their family members. Oh, it's just been so difficult. Yeah, I can understand that. Well, that right there is something you want to keep in your mind, because they're struggling, perhaps. Things were good, they're not so good now. So you may, on the second conversation, start leading towards, are you open? See, this is a big question. Try and hold this one in your mind. Are you open to taking a look at other opportunities? And pause. Wait, let them answer. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, I've run across something pretty cool. It's hard for me to explain, oh my God, I got to get going again, but I could send you a video, about a 3-minute video. Would you look at it if I sent it to you? Well, what's it about? Well, and that's iffy. You can either come out and say it's called Finmore, and then they're like, what the heck is that? And then you kind of open a can of worms if you say that. So you're careful about your wording, and I will help you with that maybe in our another session. Write that down, please, Jessica. The kinds of words that are said. There's phrases that work nicely. There's other phrases that you'll just slam yourself against a wall or into a corner and you won't know how to get out. So it's subtle, and it's trying to think of a good word here. You need to stay on track in your own thinking. You can't allow other people to start to sort of turn your own thinking. So again, personal development. If you're feeling stronger about yourself, you're going to feel more confident to lead the conversation where you'd like it to go and not fall prey to questions that you can entrap yourself with. Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Another question, and then we're going to hang it up.
Anyone?
Can you sort of explain, I know this is probably the wrong time,
A little
but,
louder, I can't hear you very well.
Finmore and Transact, the evolution of that, I guess this hasn't anything to do with it.
I can tell you, I have something I sent out to everyone.
Oh, okay, all right.
I have a comment. What about training courses, which I never realized? The person who's asking the question is dominating
Right.
conversation.
Right.
Right,
And I never thought of it in those terms.
I
exactly.
never did either.
Well, controlling the conversations.
I actually like it.
Another
I actually
fast-
like it when they ask. Usually they don't ask questions, and usually you're sitting there trying to explain to them, and they haven't even asked the question. What I was gonna say is, do you have anything like if you could like write out a list of maybe like some good one-liners to open up conversations, or some good like rebuttals? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then get that to us. I think that would be.
Yeah, there's lots of good phrases. And you just start, once you've practiced, and don't forget, you weren't born with knowing any of this stuff. And so if you're new to network marketing, attraction marketing, you may feel very uncomfortable. It's way out of your comfort zone to bring up anything and then know how to steer the conversation, right? This is not common. 95% of the people on the planet don't know how to do this. So it is like you're getting trained and you're getting groomed for becoming a leader. I'd like to go back to the question thing just for a second. There's a great book. You could look it up. It's called Questions Are the Answer. And I can't quite remember the guy's name, Tom something, I think. And so here's the point. If somebody asks you a question or gives you, as you said, a rebuttal, you come back with another question. It's just like in the old days. I remember if the phone rang, my mother ran to the phone and she waited for it to ring another ring and a half, and then she'd answer, hello. Well, these days, none of that is the case. You don't have to answer your phone at all. Texting is in and all that. But the
Don't
point
want
is,
to.
but the point is about questions are the answer or objections are the answer. The way a person words something to you with a question or a rebuttal is really what they're most curious about, and that's where you take it. You repeat their words. This is something that comes with time. You're not going to know how to do this right off the bat. But you could take a phrase that they said, let's come up with a rebuttal. Oh, I've never heard of such a thing. It sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me. I would
Ponzi
pause.
scheme?
This is an important key. The pregnant
Ponzi scheme? No, it's
Pause.
not a Ponzi scheme. It's a way to get rich. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just-
I think he's teasing you, Sunshine.
So the whole point is, instead of coming back with something defensive and trying to defend what you've got going, here's what you do. Watch me. They say something that's kind of offensive or, stupid like that. And so what you do is you give them the pregnant pause like this, and you cock your head like this. Sorry. Sorry, what was that you just said?
Oh,
Or,
no, you just said.
or, gee, I'm not sure if I heard you right. Could you rephrase that? And guess what that does? It has them take ownership of what they just said. It's
Mhm.
too easy for people to just roll off the tongue. Oh, this sounds like a scam to me. Well, I find that offensive because I'm your friend and I'm trying to bring you something and you say that to me. So you can't act like defensive yourself. That's a no-no. You just pause. The pregnant pause is huge in this business. Huge. Use it. You may never answer their question. You may just go, yeah, I hear your question, but I hear my dog barking, I have to go, or something
No.
to have you get away from that because that's negative energy and you don't need it. Are we looking for people with negative energy? Or are we picking? It's like cherry blossoms. We get to pick the cherry blossoms that we want in our business. We're not chasing people around. We know what we have. How dare they? You know what I'm saying? Go, oh, this sounds like a scam. That's just so offensive to me. So I just keep smiling. There's another big key. Don't let them see that it's upset you. Then
Yeah.
guess who's in control? So I hope we have some more sessions like this. It's kind of fun. It's good for me. Good
Yes.
for me, and I hope it was good for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I was gonna say a similar situation actually happened to me where it was somebody else with like a business idea, right? And piece of business. He was trying to get me to create leads for doing home and auto warranties. And so I told him about the Transact artist when it was still Transact. And he told me exactly what you said. He said it was a Ponzi scheme. And I paused, I did the pause, and I said, well, I asked him a question back. I said, well, what makes you think it's a Ponzi scheme? Where do you get that from? Then his answer was he knew he heard from people who were top people in the company and our company, supposedly, because he's in the business world, that's what goes on and that's what it is. That was his answer. So I said, well, have you had a chance to look at the video? I mean, I tried to like ask questions like, what do you know about it? See if we could like get into it like piece per piece. But he was completely closed. And it turned out to be what you said, right? This was just like a closed-minded individual. He was trying to put me on an opportunity
Right.
that I could have easily said was a Ponzi scheme because there's no like paper trail and it's all over the internet. Anyways, you want me to be open to your opportunity as far as networking, which he even called it a networking thing and all this stuff like this. Said the same stuff, and then but mine you're completely closed to. So it turned out to just be what you said. It was just a bad quality
And so
person.
who is speaking right now?
Forbes. That's Forbes.
Forbes, I have another suggestion. I have another suggestion that you should all take heed. You ready?
Go for
What's
it.
your definition of a Ponzi scheme?
Yeah.
I find that probably the best that I've used so far. Kind of like in the pregnant pause and then look at him kind of like, so how do you define Ponzi scheme?
Yeah.
And then they look back at me like, they can't define it. That's an easy thing. And so I define it for them sometimes and just say, yeah, and this company is not that, easy.
Oh, careful of not even saying that. This company
That's
is
true.
not
That is true.
That's a defensive statement. I do
That
want
is true.
I have another little thought. It came to me this afternoon, and I'm glad I'm remembering right now. When people say, "Oh, it's one of those pyramid things where everybody at the top makes all the money,"
Mhm.
guess what? The people that are at the top that are making, quote, all the money have done way more self-development than the person that's saying that. So people say, oh, one of those things. Yeah, I've tried that. It never works.
My
What that
response
means
was,
is they never did their personal development and they walked away with a bitter taste in their mouth and they decide that's true across the board. The only thing that's true across the board is that this is a level playing field for the whole world. All you have to do is be flexible, coachable, do your self-development, and let people help you. If you think you have to do this all by yourself, I guarantee you, you will fail.
I was gonna say what I said to him, well, and I've said this to a few people. Now, like for instance, it was another person, they were doing their own multi-level marketing, and it's very similar to Transact Card, where it's like an online store and stuff like that. Anyways, long story short, they said kind of a similar thing, that their leader or whatever what used to be or knew about Transact Card and just kind of left it at that, as if that was like um an admission of some sort of guilt on our part, you know what I'm saying, without saying what it was, right? But anyways, what I say to people is like when they say pyramid, I say, well, it's all pyramid. When you go to like Fry's, what is it? You got the managers. There's all a pyramid. It's hierarchy. That's the world we live in. There's always people at the top. There's always people at the bottom. We live in a pyramid. It's all the pyramid. So even when he said Ponzi, I said, well, some people say the stock market is a Ponzi scheme. Still doesn't mean it doesn't make money. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, we're hierarchical creatures, you know, it's all hierarchy. So there's gonna be people at the top, there's gonna be people at the bottom. Has nothing to do with your opportunity to be able to make money or not, you know?
Right. Especially now. I mean, we are in a perfect position.
I have a question. When you said, is this a Ponzi scheme? Should you not ask them, what do you think of Ponzi schemes, so that they can tell you if it's a positive or a negative reaction? Because you could completely avoid mentioning, putting yourself in trouble trying to explain something if you know whether they're pro or con. Some people may like network marketing, and they'd be the one that you'd want, as opposed to a person that is negative about it.
And who am I talking to right now?
Oh, this is Elliot.
Hi, Elliot. You can tell by the tone in the voice, the look in their eyes, their attitude. If you're on the phone, just listen carefully. You can tell if a person is, if it's like an extreme would be, oh, is this one of those Ponzi schemes? Well, that's really, really exaggerated, right? But
Oh,
if a
no,
person-
I've heard that.
But you know what? The word Ponzi, it's like, you do know those are illegal, right? And then put it back to them. You might even ask this question. Do you really think I would attach my name to something that's illegal?
Nice.
See,
But is that not a little defensive?
What's that?
I normally don't do that because some of these people I half know anyways, and they don't
Right.
half know me enough to judge whether or not we're trying to build that relationship. So I usually try to build the value in what I'm talking about,
Exactly.
as opposed to stepping away from it, because then people might say, well, that might prove what they're thinking about you if you're not willing to answer a question, or if you're like
Right.
asking a question without answering their question. Then there's some sort of thing where they might think there's a respect thing or something like so. Anyways.
Well, that's when the three-way call comes in handy, and I'm going to have to teach you about that, because it's one of the most powerful tools we have available to us. And most people don't have a clue. They don't know that it's valuable. They don't know what it is, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll teach you about that if that's something you'd like to know.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay,
I guess
I'd like to
Oh, we
wrap
have one
up.
more question from Buzz, could we?
Okay,
just real
one
quickly,
more, that's it.
it seems like there's only so many people, like, let's see, there's Jessica here and so on. We have so many people would want to maybe try to three-way call her all at the same time. How does she have to?
I make it. I'll make it, believe me.
Okay.
And if it's not me, that we have a whole list of people. That's what we do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And Russell. And, yeah,
It's very powerful. It really is. Really is.
thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you so much, Sunshower.
You're welcome.
And I guess we'll just ask you to think about what you'd like to do next and what day would be good.
I'd love it if you would write down some of the questions that we talked about tonight, and we'll make three-way calls, something. I don't know if it'll be the very next thing, because I think there's some in-between things that people asked about that maybe we should cover next.
Thank you.
And I'm thinking maybe every 2 weeks.
Does every 2 weeks sound good to everybody here?
Yes.
I like the idea of three-way and other, media like Telegram and Facebook and, because so many people don't use a phone anymore and I'm confused.
Gotcha.
I can't figure that, Telegram, Facebook, Messenger.
Right.
I was gonna say, is there a way, I like the three-way calls, is there a way that like, let's say I'm talking to some people and I have some people interested where I could like maybe create a list and then like create some sort of like let's say, I don't know, if you do normal meetings or something where I could like, or as there's a space, whatever, and like let's say he has a list, can we like create dates where we say, hey, we got this many people who are interested in Transact Card, we just need an event or a place, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's bowling or something, I don't know.
Yeah. And sometimes what some of the people do is they schedule times and you just book in those times. Like Tuesdays on whatever, and you just book in what time that you're gonna do. And you might have like 5 people in a row. So, okay, I'm gonna have 5 people on this time from here to here. And it's like, half-hour blocks. And you just boom, 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 boom.
I just thought of this. So you guys have like a calendar or something. If you make it social, it's MLMs to a certain degree, right? So you want to be spending time creating connections and relationships. So maybe like you have a calendar and certain days of the week you're like, or certain every 2 weeks, whatever, and you're like, hey, this is bowling night. You know what I mean? And then I invite all the people that are interested in Transact to that bowling night. You know what I'm saying? Or we're gonna all go to this pub. I don't even drink, but I'm just saying,
Okay.
Something like that. So we're all sitting down at the bar and we're, on the 7th of whatever, you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. That's all right.
Oh,
We'll talk about it a
Do
little
we
bit.
want to let her go?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Sunshower, we won't keep you longer. We want to thank you so very much. And we will make a list of questions and then shoot it off to you. And then we will see you back here, not next week, but the week after on Friday night, 7 o'clock. Does that work for everybody? Good
Okay,
deal.
as Stephanie's here, is there anything you'd like to add, Stephanie, since you're part of this and you're my upline?
Yeah, Stephanie right here.
Hello, Stephanie.
Hi, Sunshower. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the training. I think it really stimulates a lot of questions and it just really opens up the floor for so much more training that I can see that would be very helpful. I would just suggest to keep doing this and get all the questions together. And you guys certainly can all continue talking about this tonight. I've been doing network marketing since I was 18 years old. And I absolutely love it. And I absolutely definitely agree that everybody should pick a network marketing professional that they also will plug into their YouTubes, their website, their live videos and stuff. Like she said, read something every day, or you can listen to something every day. You're always going to get awesome tips to make tiny little improvements. You just make a little half improvement here or a half improvement there. And you guys also have, you have Jessica there and you have Russ is an incredible resource as well. Russ is just incredible at talking to anybody, meeting anybody. I just came across a book the other day and it was about how to strike up conversation and talk about anything with anyone, something like that. I will get a picture of that and send it out to you guys. My mom had also told me that Barbara Walters wrote a book on how to talk to anyone about anything. So I think something like that, if somebody's not comfortable with how to strike up a conversation with anyone, I think that's a great place to start as well if you're new to network marketing. But I also want to remind everybody that we do kind of have a cookie cutter process to this. And, please don't get overwhelmed by anything. Just being you and who you are and listing out your names of people. Work with us. We will coach you one-on-one as well to help guide you. And just remember this, I believe that this is easy and fun, and I really feel that it should be fun. And like Sunshower said, personal growth, right? But just go at your pace and know that you've got people here that have been doing this for a long time. And we are definitely here to support you as well. And we have Melissa. Additionally, there's a phenomenal team here of support. I think you've all heard Jeremy Jenkins, who's continually keeping us updated and plugged into the Leadership Council. You're in really good hands, and I couldn't be more pleased with the group of people that gathered tonight. You're all really amazing. I think I've met all of you, maybe except for Tanya. But really just have a beautiful rest of your evening gathering and talking amongst yourselves. Thank you so much, Sunshower. That was wonderful.
You're so welcome.
One last
Bye,
question.
everybody.
Wait a minute. The questions are the answer. Tom, something, did you remember his name?
Is peace.
No, there's only one book by that name. Questions Are the Answer. And I read it in 2001, and it was a few years old then.
Tom Pease, you said?
Yeah, there's two books called that. One is Peas and the one's a different author. You'll find it instantly.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Thank you.
Bye.